So a point that many people, myself included, have made is, who the hell is leading the Democrats right now? Like, for real, who is their leader? Stop and think about it. Like, nobody in their right mind would say Chuck Schumer or Hakeem Jeffries or Jerry Connolly, the 74-year-old with terminal esophageal cancer who's the head of the oversight committee. And so, look, it's a real question. Is it Kamala Harris? I mean, she was just, the standard bearer not that long ago, but where the hell is she now? She disappeared. I saw an article about Joe Biden signing with CAA, the talent agency, and then I think I saw one where Kamala Harris signed with some talent agency too. And it's like, I don't know, man. If you were saying, hey, there's like a fascist threat and this guy wants to be a dictator, and then he takes office and like you're nowhere to be found. I don't know. Even somebody like Obama, former president, like you were on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris. Now Trump's actually doing a lot of these things, and mum's the word. You don't hear anything, right? All because of some nonsense, unwritten rule that like former presidents don't weigh in on current presidents. It's like, I think you can make some exceptions. When he starts talking about stealing Gaza and taking Greenland and stealing Panama and war with Mexico and war with Iran and the world's richest man is illegally hacking into our government agencies and deleting regulatory bodies he doesn't like, I think you can make some exceptions. So, but look, there actually is an answer to the question. Who is the Democrats' leader? And as I pointed out to you guys very early on, you actually can't pick your leaders. Leaders will just emerge. It's an organic thing. It's a natural thing. They rise up through the ranks because they want to rise up through the ranks, and they put in the work. Well, guess what? Bernie Sanders announced an anti-oligarchy tour where he's going across the country, and specifically to some of these like purple districts that Trump barely won. He's going there and he's basically breaking it all down for people. Hey, Elon Musk is the world's richest robber baron. Donald Trump is a far-right fascist. They're a serious threat, and I'm going to lay it all out for you in detail. And so he announced this tour, and guys, this is like, it's like rock star numbers are showing up for him. Okay? Look at this. In the middle of winter in Omaha tonight, Bernie Sanders spoke to 2,400 working-class Nebraskans. We were forced to turn away 800 people at the door. More than 130,000 tuned into the live stream in real time. Now, he's also been releasing like these videos where he responds like pretty often to what's going on and explains to people exactly what's happening. And those videos on YouTube and on other social media platforms, it's racking up millions of views. Millions of views. This doesn't happen with other politicians not named Donald Trump. It doesn't happen. If Jerry Connolly gave a rally speech, if he did some videos on YouTube to update people on what's happening in D.C., how do you think that would fare? What if Chuck Schumer did it? What if Hakeem Jeffries did it? Okay, so here, I'll show you some of the stuff here. This is one of the pictures. Absolutely packed in there. I also have some videos for you. Here's one video. This one was in Iowa City. Look at this. People are desperate on the left for a leader. People want somebody who's going to give us the vision, give us the policy agenda, fight back against Trump and Elon and MAGA and all of their insanity. And look, he's coming through. He's coming through. So here, I'll give you some of the article that I got some more videos for you, but this is in Common Dreams. Thousands in Midwestern GOP districts attend Sanders' first stops on tour to fight oligarchy. Quote, it's like there's only one person who is actually able to sidestep the demoralization and frustration, said one observer. After addressing more than 3,400 Nebraska residents in Omaha Friday evening, U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders on Saturday made his second stop on his national tour to fight oligarchy, telling Iowa residents that Trumpism will not be defeated by politicians inside the D.C. Beltway. For better or worse, that is not going to happen, said the Vermont independent senator, whose broadly popular policy proposals have long been dismissed by Democratic leaders as unrealistic and radical, while President Trump has increasingly captured the attention of the working class Americans who would benefit most from Sanders' ideas. Quote, It will only be defeated by millions of Americans in Iowa, in Vermont, in Nebraska, in every state in this country who come together in a strong grassroots movement and say no to oligarchy, no to authoritarianism, no to kleptocracy, no to massive cuts to programs the low income and working Americans desperately need, no to huge tax breaks for the wealthiest people in this country. The senator announced his tour earlier this month as Elon Musk, the head of Doge, bought the government, bought Trump's campaign, bought the administration, illegally hacking in and stealing government data, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, this article goes on, but here, let me show you what it was like when he walked into one of the events. This one, again, is in Omaha, Nebraska. Watch this, guys. Look, we got to call it what it is. This is Bernie's moment, because what we're witnessing is the culmination of everything he said was going to happen. It's happening. It's come to pass, right? You have the oligarchs, the robber barons, the billionaires, the kleptocrats. They have taken over. That's what Elon Musk represents. That's what Peter Thiel represents. That's what Mark Andreessen represents. That's what Mark Zuckerberg represents. When Trump was giving his inauguration speech, he was surrounded by the robber barons. They had better seats than his own cabinet members. They're illegally hacking into our government programs and deleting ones they don't want, like the CFPB and the Education Department. And at the same time, Trump, foreign policy-wise, has gone full 1800s imperialist, full colonialist. He's literally trying to do colonial extraction from Ukraine and saying, give us 50% of your natural resources from now until forever. Look at how he says we're going to own Gaza. Look at how he says we're going to do war with Mexico. We're going to steal Panama. We're going to coup Venezuela. I mean, the list goes on. Iran, war with Iran. So he's been right. He's been right every step of the way. He was a leader then, he's leading now, and it feels more like his moment than ever because the grassroots enthusiasm for somebody who's fighting back is immense. And the other thing is, what separates him from so many others, guys, is that he has a narrative. He has a story to tell, right? The MAGA story is very simple and very straightforward. Hey, blame the immigrants for all your problems. Blame the trans people for all your problems. We hate liberals and leftists, and they're also the problem. They have a story, and everything they say fits into that narrative. Fuck the immigrants, fuck the trans people, fuck the liberals and leftists. Everything they say builds towards that agenda and that ideology and those arguments. It is a story that you tell people. I know your life sucks. Here's why. And on the Democratic side, unfortunately, many Democratic politicians, even though they have way better policies than the average Republican, they don't tell a compelling story. It's very like technocratic. We're going to make these tweaks around the edges. Everything's kind of already okay, so chill out. Like that's the vibe you get from most Democrats. Bernie has a counter narrative. He has a counter story, which is captivating, which moves people. And Bernie's story is the problem is not trans people and immigrants. The problem is not liberals and leftists. The problem and the reason why your life sucks, it's the robber barons. It's corporations. It's money in politics. It's corruption. They've bought our government, and now the government only represents the wealthy and not you. That's why you're struggling. And that's a better narrative, and it also happens to be true. It happens to be accurate. And so that's why you're seeing he's 83 years old, yo. He's 83 years old, and he's the leader of the Democrats. You know, and look, we've all seen it since the election results. How many times have you seen liberals who were in trench warfare against the Bernie movement multiple times? All of a sudden, they're all going, you know what? You know what? He is the only one leading right now. He is the only one fighting MAGA effectively. He is the only one providing a counter narrative. Turns out he was kind of right about a lot of stuff. I mean, look at the oligarchs and the robber barons literally stealing our government from us. Look at what they're doing, cutting cancer research, cutting the anti-scam police, cutting the Department of Education, firing flight safety officials at the same time that planes are falling out of the air. So I'm not done. I told you a lot of these videos that he's posting are getting literally millions of views. Millions of views. This is what leadership looks like. Here's one of the segments from not that long ago.
I do not often find myself in the habit of thanking Elon Musk, but I must confess that he has done an exceptional job of demonstrating a point that a few of us have been making for years, and that is the reality that we live in an oligarchic society in which billionaires dominate not only our politics and the information we consume from media, but our government and economic lives as well. That has never been clearer than it is today. But given the news and attention Mr. Musk has been getting over the last few weeks as he illegally and unconstitutionally dismantles government agencies, I think it is an appropriate time to ask the question that the media and most politicians don't seem to be asking. What do he and other multi-billionaires really want? What is their endgame? In my opinion, what Musk and those around him are aggressively striving for is not novel, it is not complicated, and it is not new. It is what ruling classes throughout history have always wanted and have always believed is theirs by right. More power, more control, and more wealth. And they don't want ordinary people, that's you, and democracy getting in their way. They want it all. Elon Musk and his fellow oligarchs believe government and laws are simply an impediment to their interests and what they are entitled to. In pre-revolutionary America, before the 1770s, the ruling class governed through a doctrine called the divine rights of kings. The belief that the King of England was an agent of God and he was not to be questioned by mere mortals. In modern times, we no longer have the divine right of kings. What we now have is an ideology being pushed by the oligarchs, which says that as very, very wealthy people, often self-made, often as the masters of revolutionary new technology, it is their absolute right to rule. In other words, these modern-day oligarchs are our kings. And it is not just power, it's incredible wealth that they have. Today, Mr. Musk is worth $402 billion. Zuckerberg is worth $252 billion. Bezos is worth $249 billion. With combined wealth of over $900 billion, these three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Not surprisingly, since Trump was elected, their wealth has soared. Musk has become $138 billion richer. Zuckerberg has become $49 billion richer. And Bezos has become $28 billion richer, all since Election Day. Meanwhile, while the very rich become much richer, 60% of Americans live paycheck to paychecks. 85 million are uninsured or underinsured. 25% of seniors are trying to survive on $15,000 a year or less. 800,000 are homeless, and we have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country on earth. Do you think for 1 second that the oligarchs give a damn about working people? Trust me, they don't. Musk's decision to dismember USAID means that tens of thousands of the poorest people around the world will go hungry or die of preventable diseases. But it's not just abroad. Here in the United States, they will soon be going after the healthcare, nutrition, housing, and educational programs that protect the most vulnerable people in our country, all so that Congress can provide huge tax breaks for them and their fellow billionaires. As modern-day kings who believe they have the absolute right to rule, they will sacrifice, without hesitation, the well-being of working people to protect their interests.
Highly recommend you go watch the rest of this. Highly recommend it. Look, the fact of the matter is very simple. Other Democrats, many other Democrats, they still want to get some billionaire money, right? That's why you had Hakeem Jeffries allegedly went to Silicon Valley after this election to try to mend fences with tech billionaires. And you heard this from the new head of the DNC. He's like, look, there's a lot of bad billionaires. We won't be taking money from them, but we're going to take money from the good billionaires. And this is the problem. You are undermining what's supposed to be your argument, your narrative, your agenda, your ideology. You're undermining it because you want to have one foot in that world. We are long past that being acceptable. Long past. The defining feature, the defining characteristic of the Democratic Party has to be, we are against the robber barons. We are against the oligarchy and the kleptocracy and the kakistocracy. That's what we're all about. And so our agenda is fighting them and stopping them, and at the same time, delivering for you. We want a higher minimum wage so you make a living wage. If you work full time, you don't have to worry about starving or losing your home or not being able to pay the light bill. We want a higher minimum wage. We want universal health care. We want universal education, including higher education. We want the PRO Act so people have a right to join a union. It's simple bread and butter stuff, but it's only going to land and it's only going to pack that punch if you don't just don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk. And you make sure you don't take any billionaire money. Bernie proved you can raise enough money to be competitive through small dollar donations. Do you have any idea how many more people would start sending money to Democrats if they made clear, look, we're drawing a line in the sand, we're done, it's over. We're not taking any more money from any billionaires, any corporations. We're going to raise all of our money through small dollar donations so everybody knows we are only incentivized to represent you, the American people. And there's never been a more clear example of this is the moment, this is the time. Because look at what Elon Musk, the world's wealthiest robber baron, look at what he's doing. He's cutting cancer research for kids, he's cutting the Department of Education, he's cutting flight safety officials, he's cutting the anti-scam police. You know, like, this is it. This is the culmination of everything Bernie has said, everything he's warned about, every step of the way. And why is he the only one who's out there, who's this visible, who's responding to it on a daily basis, who's doing events throughout the country in purple districts explaining oligarchy and explaining why you cannot support these monsters? The left is going to rise because the left is actually demonstrating this is how you fight Trump. This is how you fight Trump. And all of those liberals who were told in 2016 and on, all that matters is fighting Trump. He's a fascist. He's a threat to democracy. He's every bad thing in the world. Now, those same liberals are going, why is the only one taking Trump seriously? Bernie Sanders. You know, maybe I was wrong about him. Maybe he was the right choice. Maybe Hillary Clinton was a bad idea. Maybe Joe Biden was a bad idea. Maybe it should have been him all along. And yet again, it's Bernie's moment. He's proving that. He's proving it. Proving it day in, day out. That's why he's getting millions of views with the videos that he releases. That's why his events have literally overflow rooms with 800 people in them, because everybody's yearning for somebody to fight back and do so effectively. His brand of politics is the brand of politics that gets that job done. That actually defeats MAGA, that defeats the robber barons, that delivers victories for the American people, that cleans up our system, gives people a fair shot, brings us back to some semblance of New Deal politics. There's a reason FDR won 4 times. There's a reason at his peak he had 80% of the House and 80% of the Senate. So he's still the leader. God, what I would give to shave 20 years off of his age. Just have him be 63, not 83. If he was 63, he'd be a shoo-in for the next election. He would win with FDR-like numbers, bro. He really would. But hey, other Democrats, the opportunity's always there. You can always say, I'm done with corporate money, I'm done with robber baron money. You could always come out and say that, and you could always follow the lead. He's showing you exactly what to do, bro. This is it's all right there. The roadmap is there for you. You can all do it, and everybody would be happy if there were more people who could effectively fight MAGA because they have a counter narrative, they have a counter story, they have a counter ideology. And finally, this is probably the most important part, he actually cares, right? You get the sense when you listen to right-wing politicians talk, you genuinely get the sense like, oh, they're actually about that life. They actually believe this dumb bullshit they're saying, right? That's the sense you get. It's from their core, it's from their soul when they're ranting against immigrants and, you know, espousing all these horrible policy positions. On the Democratic side with most of them, it's like, do you really care? It just seems like you're trying to climb the ladder. It seems like you're a careerist and you're more out for yourself. And Bernie's a clear example of somebody who really gives a shit about what he's talking about what he supports. And that's the other thing. If you don't care, just get out of the way. Make room for those of us who do, because there's a lot of us who do. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.